to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Now we'll begin with motion to accept the minutes as moved by Chris,
I second.
second by Nancy. All in favor?
I have a question. This, I don't know if this was the second, I missed the second one, but that doesn't mean that, resolution.
With the specs that should be had, I believe, be the resolution 105 dead.
Okay.
Fourth line down,
Yeah, it says, specs that
have,
That he has requested.
he has,
That
he's
he-
gotta drop the R.
Okay,
that he has.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
thank you.
All in favor with correction?
Aye.
Opposed? Before we get into public comments, by request of a number of people, we haven't adopted meeting procedures which limits public speaking to 5 minutes, and we'll be using the stopwatch tonight to adhere to that. So we'll go right into public comments. Anybody? I'm glad I brought that up.
Won't have to exercise your watch.
Good to know.
Okay, Randy's not here, so we'll be skipping highway and buildings. We'll go right into old business, and we have a guest here today, Marcus McGee from Mountain Abstract.
Are we on the podium or?
Sure, if you could.
So I'm Marcus McGee with Mountain Abstract, Hamilton Abstract, and the town has asked me to do an abstract on the piece that the town owns on Sacandaga, of which I've done, but I've got a couple of questions for the board, and is what are you actually trying to do? Because I performed what would be a standard abstract. That piece is one of the more screwed up pieces in Hamilton County. It's a quintessential Adirondack easement issue. Easements have been granted on that by perhaps some people that shouldn't have over the years, but that's the way it's happened. Are you looking for an abstract for a sale? You're looking to identify who benefits from the easement? Because they're two very different questions.
Well, we'd have to know both, wouldn't we?
Well, I believe the intention was to, if we were to put this up for sale, that we do it legally, follow all the legal procedures.
Well, that's a good point, and I've done that. If you were to sell, your obligation would most likely be to provide a 40-year abstract of title. That I've done. You could provide that to a buyer, and then they could go get title insurance with it if they wish. What's screwed up about that easement is some easements were granted as early as around 1900, and then it flows down through, and it really starts to fly when Robert Osborne had everything. Or no, sorry, William. And then William conveys 4 or 5 easements out. Then he conveys the golf course and this strip to his brother. And then William, for whatever reason, continues to convey rights of way over it. So to find out who is entitled to the easement today is very difficult because you have to search in ways that you normally wouldn't, if that makes any sense.
Yes.
So I guess I'm looking for some direction from the town board on what are you trying to do. I don't know why you would want to identify all of the people that benefit. Happy to do it, but you're talking probably a $4,000 or $5,000 bill.
Well, I believe I made the motion, and my intent was to find out, to make sure we knew what we would be selling.
Yeah.
That was my intent. I can't speak for the rest of the board, obviously.
I concur. That was the intention. If we were to sell this piece of property, that we would have to put it abstract.
That's right, and typically what we'd find is a buyer is going to come in and they're going to try and identify, to the best of their ability through the abstract that you provided, who has access over the piece they're about to buy. If that abstract is not sufficient, they are more than able to pay for somebody to do the extra work.
Right.
But you will have met your contractual requirement for a sale.
Okay,
In fact, the search that I've done, you've more than doubled the requirement.
okay.
So,
If that was my intent, like I say, I can speak for the board.
And I agree, I believe that was
Yeah, I
my,
was just thinking for tax purposes, but I can't imagine anybody that has a deeded right of way, whether it was deeded properly or not, would want to give it up to save $50 on tax every year, you know? So,
because what happens, these rights of way have literally given out since like 1900 forward. So to track who benefits from those easements today, you have to do searches on every parcel coming forward, and it's no less than 16.
yeah.
So you're talking about 16 full searches that go back to, as far as 1900. It's a lot of work.
Oh, yeah.
I'm thinking, interested in that.
No.
and I believe my reasoning was to meet all legal obligations that we would have as the seller, if
Yep.
we do decide to sell it.
And with what I've done, I think you've met your obligations under any Adirondack contract.
Okay.
If that's all you want me to do, I can finalize that, or if anybody has any other questions, I'm happy to answer.
Well, I think we're all eagerly waiting to find out that Lake Pleasant actually does own the whole 50 feet.
They own the whole 50 feet. Where that came up with the county back in that resolution from the 90s, I'm not sure. I know at one time the county owned a lot that benefited from the easement.
Right.
And I think that may be where the confusion came in, but the county never owned that. That's always been Osborne to the golf course to the
Right.
town.
Right.
Okay. Any
Just, I have a question.
Yeah,
Sure.
go ahead.
When you say you've completed it, do you have a paper completion, or is this just?
Oh, I'm going to, but before I actually finish typing it, I wanted to make sure that I wasn't going to be asked to add more to it.
Because I have significant questions
Sure.
about my property and in relationship to the right-of-way. And it dates back to 1962.
Okay?
And I would say that before you approve anything, you let him do 1962 for the White Lot property.
Well, the abstract that I've done goes back actually to, I think, about 1923. So
Okay, that's fine.
it's going to take it in, but where it gets a little bit confusing is as I run that title, you're going to have a lot that gets sold with an easement. I don't continue to run that easement with a piece of property that's been sold. I'm focused on the lot that the town owns. So I don't continue to run the people who benefit as they continue to sell their lots.
I'm questioning the ownership.
Okay? What's your question?
My question is that my understanding is Dr. Whitelock purchased a right-of-way from Osborne
Okay?
in 1962. Did your search show that?
Yes.
Well, if he purchased a right-of-way in 1962,
Mhm.
how does it become town-owned?
Because a right-of-way is just a beneficial interest in a piece of property. You have fee
No, it
ownership.
was sold, quick claim deed,
Mm-mm.
yes?
Be happy to sit with you on that, but I have not turned that up. There was a contract of sale that was recorded, and then a deed, I don't know, probably about a year later.
Well, if it's a sale of the right-of-way, Osborne gave up his rights to sell.
If memory serves, Whitelock got a fee title to a lot.
I'd like to sit with you on
Sure.
do a separate discussion.
I'd be happy to do that. With anybody who's got questions outside of here, I'd be happy to do that.
I have a simple question.
Sure.
I received the history of 175,
Mhm.
dating back to 1888. I bought a property in 73, and I bought another property in 83, 84. I can't find my name listed in the history. And yet my deed shows 1973 November. And I've been coming to all these meetings and I'm not even listed.
Well, that's something I did, Randy, that's what you're talking about, that
I don't
I
think-
forwarded to you?
Did Chris do that with all the,
And it-
the history?
All I was doing was tracking the golf course parcel.
Well, it went to,
And-
you know, from 1888, and it goes forward to the 1960s, 1970s.
Yeah, but I wasn't looking at every parcel. When I came across something that fit in with what
I was
with this
looking-
whole history of the Adirondack Club,
Yeah, I was looking
project.
for,
I stuck it in, but.
my name listed, says 1973 November on my deed, on my property. And at that time, it was 2 lots put together, and that's where one of the camps are that my daughter now owns. Then I bought another piece, and I'm not listed. And then I bought another piece of property with another deed, and I think it's 1983, and here again.
Yeah, but
Here
Randy, you
dates
gotta
go up, and all of a
understand
sudden I'm not even listed in there.
What's,
this is not something that Marcus did.
I'm just saying, I don't care who did it. If there's a history trail of everybody, there's 15 of us that has a right of way.
No, but I wasn't tracking the rights of way. I was tracking that parcel. And then when I came across something that fit in with the history of that whole Adirondack Club property, I threw it in here, but apparently I never came across your deed. So it didn't get in here.
see, we're.
Oh, I believe you own the property.
Here's
That's not
why
something
it's
that we're-
complicated.
It's not complicated.
No, it is. This one
I
is
just want to be
complicated.
listed.
Yeah, this one is complicated. I'm not sure what list you're talking about, but what happened was Bill Osborne conveys the golf course and the 50-foot strip to his brother. But then Bill Osborne still owns the majority of the lots across the road and some back lots by the golf course. He just continued to convey rights of way to it. Probably shouldn't have been doing that, but that's the way things are done in the Adirondacks, you know. Bill Osborne then sells a half interest in what he continued to own to Charlotte Levy. Charlotte Levy conveys some rights of way. Charlotte Levy then conveys to Bill Intamin, and he conveys some rights of way. So you really have to look deeply to find some of these.
And it's not really the town's obligation.
I just find that hard to believe with not one, but both of my properties, that I'm not even listed in this.
What list are you talking about?
The history.
He's talking
I
about
think it was a
this
title.
that I put together as
It
I.
had some tax lots on it? Is that the list?
I'm sorry?
The list that had the
It's
tax
this
lots?
list right here, but it's a list
Okay.
of all the dates of everybody who had a right of way on the right of way.
No,
No, that's not,
no,
that's not true.
that's where you're
That's not
going
true.
wrong, Randy. It's
Well-
the parcel of land I was tracking, not
Not
the
your
people
parcel.
that own rights of way. If you
Well-
want me to, I can go find that for you, but that would be in your abstract that you got when you bought the property.
It is in my abstract.
Then
Okay.
that's your dagger.
I don't care what it is. I just, when I was reading the histories going from into the 1960s, then going into the 1970s, I was just kind of
But you gotta
surprised I
remember,
didn't see my name.
that's an amateur thing, okay? I'm not a professional. I was just trying to
Oh,
find out.
Chris,
what I
I'm
could.
not saying that. I'm not pitting you.
No,
down.
but, I'm saying that really has nothing to do, it's a history, yes, but it's a history in the works, basically. You know, if I ever came across further information, I'd add it to it, only because that's what I do, you know? Too many years in the newspaper business.
Whatever turns you out. Hey, you did a great job. I'm just questioning, while he's here, why isn't my name listed? That's all.
Yeah, well, that's why I'm trying to explain to you why it wasn't, because I wasn't tracking rights of way, the deeded rights of way holders. When I found one, that's what I was looking for. And I have the list of deeded rights of way holders on that list, I think, toward the bottom. But I did not look any further than the fact that they had a deeded right of way. These other things came when I was trying to track that parcel back, and you gotta go from book and page, and then you find you gotta go to another book and page, and then another book and page, and back. And that's where this list came from, but it's by no means complete. I mean, there were a couple hundred parcels in that subdivision.
Okay, I think we've,
Can we answer your question?
You've answered my question. I don't have to put Humpty Dumpty back together.
this really shouldn't be part of the,
Yeah. But anybody who does have questions that wants to see me separately, I'd be happy. We're over here in the clerk's office every day. Happy to sit down with anybody who's got questions, so.
Thank you, Marcus.
Welcome.
Well, excuse me, I'd like my question resolved before you take any action on sale, because I have a serious question with him
Well, that's something you can take up with him.
at the courthouse, some other day.
I'm gonna be here all week, so,
Well, I'm not.
yeah. Okay. And I actually probably have the weight lot deed with me if you want to show.
I'd like to see it.
I have a quick question. Will you be here after the meeting?
What time's after the meeting?
It depends on how fast we catch up.
We put him to the top of the agenda because, so he wouldn't have to stay around. He's got quite a distance to travel. So if you have any questions for him, I'd catch him now.
Yeah, if you're willing to speak outside the meeting.
Sure.
Questions. So then these good people can get going.
All right, we'll move on to the next item under old business. A public hearing on the Townboard veterans exemption, and give you permission to advertise for a public hearing.
Thank you. Somebody move that?
I'll move it.
Moved by
Second.
Mike,
Thank you.
We have to pick a date, right?
I have the date done. It's going to be at our next meeting, October 15th. The resolution reads to hold a public hearing for the adoption of local law number 1, 2018 on Monday, October 15th, 2018 at 7:30. So we'll open the meeting at 7, and then if anybody in the public wants to comment on it, and then otherwise we'll be set.
All right.
Thank you.
Great, thank you. Anybody have anything else under old business? Move to new business. We do have, need to have a resolution on the budget adjustment transfers. We all have a copy of this. What's up? 8 items. So I entertain for motion to move. Chris, they give you a copy, didn't they?
Yeah, I got it, Cynthia, I already got it.
Okay.
Well, I'll move it, and we can discuss it.
Moved by Chris, we have a second.
I'll second.
Second by Nancy. Discussion? Hearing none. All in favor? Opposed? Okay. And we go back to the bill. Looking for motion to pay the bills. Moved by Mike. Second by Nancy. All in favor? Opposed? Motion's passed. And we're back to public comment.
I'll make, no, go ahead. Please. No, you go ahead.
Well, thank you. Tim Ferris, Chamber of Commerce. Well, we've had an interesting summer. A lot of good things happened. Cycle Adirondack came in. We had over 230 people here that came through our town. We're still getting at the numbers of what impact they had on the businesses. Cycle Adirondack does a survey with the folks that come through. They ask a lot of questions, but we did see a bump up in some of our lodging, bump up in some of the folks that work in the different restaurants and things. So it was a good overall event, and the concerts and stuff like that really kind of showed what we can do in our community, and we're excited about that because that gives us the next opportunity. As long as we can work out some of the issues of insurance and making sure that we're doing everything that's not going to have a negative impact on the village or on our community, I think there's some things that we can do there. It's opened up a whole world of possibilities to us. Now the farmers market's been doing really great. We have even more vendors. As a matter of fact, we were talking about possibly buying tents to be able to rent to vendors because we need more space. So that's been going really well, and it's something that is continuing to get even better. We've had the triathlon and the Lane 10K. They were both in the black this year, which is fantastic. We were kind of getting worried about that. We're looking at other ways to make them even more cost effective, and even looking at sponsorships for some of those to help us to keep those things going and get more people attracted to it. the more money we have for that, the more we can market it, the better off we can do with that. So that brings more people into our community. Our annual membership dinner, we had over at the camp, which was a lot of fun. And we saw more attendees there this year, and I was really happy to host it at Camp Sacandaga. And it's really nice to see all the folks there and see how active they are and involved in our community. We had new businesses join. We had at least 6 new businesses, and we're working on trying to get the town of Wells, town of Benson, and town of Hope into this mix. And so we're going to be going to those meetings. Wells seemed we went to the meeting, and they seemed actually pretty receptive to the idea. So we might have to work out a few ideas. We might have to look at a way to get them into a lower rate to get them first started out and then build from there. But we want to have them come back into that partnership. And having them gives us a lot more of a block to bring more people into our community, because people drive through Wells to get here. And one of the interesting things in this, I was talking to some folks in Chestertown, they think that we have the ideal location here because everyone drives through Speculative. Everyone drives through here. So we just have to find a way to get them to stop here. And that's stuff that we're going to be working on as a chamber. And then, of course, the biggest thing that happened this year is that when the bank, NBT Bank, announced that it was going to cut the hours and keep them short, Donna was very instrumental, and a lot of folks really worked together and rallied together and got them to change the hours back. And that was important for not only our businesses, but a lot of folks who still go in and like to meet a teller and go in there. But I would like to say one thing. The more people that go in, if you don't use the ATM as much and you go in and actually use the bank tellers, the better off it is, because that shows transactions and that helps to make sure that they're being recognized. Even though we all use the bank in many different ways, making sure that we use that bank fully is important. Now, with all these great things, we do have some challenges. And one of the things that we're looking at is we're trying to come up with some, we've seen all along here, you drive up and down here, you see all these for sale signs. And that's driving us a little crazy because we know that this is a great place to live and a great place to be. There are so many great businesses here that if we got 1 or 2 young folks or some folks to come in here that want to take over a business, that same business, to keep it the same business, we need to encourage that. We need to find ways to help these people come in and find incentives. Is there things that we can do? Maybe get them power audits to get the power bills down. Maybe there are funds out there to help get them started up. Maybe there's some things we can do to help get discounts on different things so that they are able to be successful those first few years to get their feet underneath them. Because if we keep these businesses, because we can't afford to lose them, we can't afford to have the inn turned into a private house, can't afford to have the Melody turned into a private house. These are great businesses that are part of our community. We need to do everything. So the chamber is really working on that and trying to find ways that we can attract new folks in here. With the high-speed internet coming in eventually, that's also going to be another great aspect, that we can also attract some non-traditional businesses into our area. We also need to do a better job of marketing. And we cut back on marketing and try to rely more on Facebook. Now, don't get me wrong. We have, I think it is we have 6,700 followers. Now, Saratoga only has 2,700. Indian Lakes Chamber of Commerce only has 2,500. So we're doing really great with reaching out to people. But we also connected in with Roost. So when this stuff comes into us, it gets posted at Roost, which then goes out much more globally. There's a lot more hits on that. But that's not enough. We found some other ways to advertise, and we're really sitting down and putting together a great marketing plan. But that's going to take a little bit more money. So that's something that we will need to talk about, because we've been cut back so much that at some point we need to have a talk about that to get that momentum going. Not only to get new businesses in here, but also to keep our business and to get people to come in here. Because the Chamber of Commerce isn't just a Chamber of Commerce. We're also a center of tourism. And the funds coming from here helps to keep the doors open over there, and helps to keep making sure when people walk in and say, I want to go hiking and I also want to get something to eat. Where do I go? Well, we have folks in that office that tell about that. So we're working hard. We're going to be giving you an annual report of something, hopefully next year around May or so. But keep us in mind, and we'll talk a little bit more about what we need in the future. But thank you. Hopefully it was under 5 minutes.
Jim,
Thanks,
can I ask
Jeff.
a question?
Yes.
Is the chamber aware of the ANCA Center for Businesses in Transition?
No.
I run a cross-country association.
Okay, yeah. Oh, yeah. ANCA.
So they assist retiring business owners in finding young, new, enthusiastic buyers?
I'm not, but I'd love to sit down and any information you want to give me on that, I'd love it.
Okay.
I could work with you on that, I'm
Yeah,
pretty
because,
involved, I'm somewhat involved with that case fish. up in there.
okay, because I have a connection up in Paul Smith's College, because I get some of my staff up there. And I would love to get some of those young folks graduating from the culinary school to say, you know what, I want to start my life there.
Mhm.
And there's great opportunities here, and we have them. We got the places, we just got to get some people in here who's going to get excited about it.
We need a fish hatchery
We need a brew.
that could supply fish to the local restaurants and give tourists tours. Because something like that can start small.
Yeah, yeah. So, but thank you very much, and if you have any questions, you always know where to find me, I'm over at camp. But I want to definitely talk to you folks about this. I want to get that information sooner than later, so I can add that in to our time. Okay? Thank you very much.
Thank you. Ernie, I believe you had,
I just want to make a very simple statement. But, Marcus came in, is Marcus the guy's name?
Yes.
Marcus? But he came in and he mentioned 3 times that this thing is a screwed up mess. And he said for him to unscramble it, it's going to cost like $5,000. And that's not the route that you guys want to go down. It's not the route.
it's not the route we have to go down. We're meeting our obligation with what he did already.
Yeah, but he wants another $5,000 to unscramble it.
No, I don't believe that's what he said.
That's what he
Not
said.
unscramble, he said it's a screwed up mess,
Well, maybe
but
it's unscrambled.
dig deeper,
But he said 3 times it's a screwed up mess.
well,
But the thing is,
And
the
I just
town,
want-
the town hired him to clear us. You are the ones that now have to hire him to figure out your messes.
Right, right, and that's why, I just want to have it in the minutes. He mentioned it 3 times.
yeah. And I'll mention that it wasn't something that the town did.
Right.
Oh, no, the town did it.
So I honestly don't believe the town's obligated to be any part of any further investigations by Mount Abstract.
Well, that's next week. Is it the assessor's coming in to say,
Oh, that's a completely different subject.
that's next week.
That, as far as the abstract goes, I think we're meeting our obligations by what he'll be supplying us. All right?
All right.
Anyone else? Hearing no other public comments, roundtable. Mike? No. Bob? Chris?
I don't think so. Go to Nancy.
Nancy?
Sorry.
Debbie? I'd be able to.
Okay, the health center lights was one of the things I was gonna bring up. And
Okay, we need to look into
you've got
that.
it on, I can, if you want to tell me what you need done, I'll do it. But I suspect it involves getting National Grid up here.
I'm not sure.
Well, we need to find out,
Yeah.
find out who's obligated, so. I'll talk to Randy about that, he's in charge of building, so.
What will help, what is this conversation help?
The street
So the
light.
light in the parking lot, it's been out, Billy says it's been out for quite a long time. I do have, I just want to mention that we had some dates picked for the public budget meeting dates. Although we just found out there's some conflicts, so I'll be working with Mark Ferry on coming up with some dates, because we're going to need to start advertising them pretty soon here. So if any of the board members are not going to be here between now and by the time we need to submit stuff to the town clerk, please get those dates to me, so Mark and I can come up with some dates that'll work. Thank you. The other thing I had was, again, on September 24th, there will be a presentation on the value of right-of-ways by our assessor, Dan Fife. That will be here at 7 o'clock. That's correct.
What was the date?
That's September the 24th.
But it's not a town meeting.
It's not a town board meeting, it's a presentation by the assessor.
It's public, well,
It's a public.
It's a public
Yep.
meeting.
Anybody has any questions on how they figure right-of-ways, that would be the time to talk to him. Or you can go to see him individually. He's offered to come here and just give a quick presentation on how it's done. There is no formula, as someone alluded to this. and he'd like to make sure that people understand that, so. Chris, did you have anything else?
No, that was it. Street
No? Do we have any reason to go to a special session? I have none.
I didn't know we passed public comments. I thought we were going to new business and that. I was out there.
2 times.
Back to a couple of public comments for Gary, but again, we have a limited 5 minutes.
I will make it very quick. I spoke to Gary Reinhardt, citizen of Lake Pleasant. I talked to the abstractor, and he said he's willing to meet people at the county building. I'm actually going to meet him tomorrow.
Yeah, he mentioned that. Yeah.
Okay, just make sure everyone knows that about the weird interest that my property may or may not have, all that fun stuff. I also wanted to say that, or ask that Declan Radio would be willing to record the public budget meeting if you guys are interested.
That's part of your contract. Surprise.
No, it's not a surprise. I just wanted to make sure that you guys,
You're just confirming.
just confirming that that's what you guys want. And, I just need a date. I think it's within 24 hours of the meeting. The earlier the better, so I can know to get here set up.
If I vote, we'll keep you in the loop.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
And for those who don't know, Marcus works in the county clerk's office.
Okay, if nobody has anything else, I'll entertain for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Chris? Second. Second, Bob. On favor? Opposed? Thank you, everybody.